phone does say it's 7 o'clock, so I'm going to open up the regular meeting of the Board of Trustees, and we'll start with pledge. And please call the roll.
Trustee Mathis.
Here.
Trustee Gifford. Here. Trustee Lassman.
Here.
Trustee Rizzo.
Here.
Mayor Pettit.
Here. We're going to skip privilege of the floor as we usually do when we have some recognitions to do, and we're going to move on to item number 4, which is the presentation of the badges to Police Officer Sean Koch and Officer Mark Kozinski. I'll come down here for that, and I can get you guys right up here. We're going to shut the door.
You guys, if anybody wants to take pictures, move around and do it. There's no, no restrictions. Exactly like that.
So, I'm assuming that you guys have been here before. You were here for the swearing in, and you might be wondering why you're coming back again. So, at the point that we hire an officer, they become an employee of the Village of Scotia, we swear them in, we welcome to the village. But in order to actually become an officer, they've got to go to academy. So the academy's a pretty rigorous training. When they're done there, they come and go on the road with us for a while for their in-house training. But not every officer or teacher, you can pick your son up if you want. A future officer makes it through academy. We've had candidates in the past that, despite their hard work, did not become officers with us. So when that actually happens and the work is done and they're on the road with us, that's the point in time that we honor them by actually pinning them with their officer at the badge. So I'm going to turn that ceremony over to the chief, and then we'll welcome these guys.
Hi, Brian. So we were here 6 months ago tonight, actually, when Sean and Mark got sworn in, and they put in great efforts and did very well at the academy, and now they start their field training, which is really an application of everything they learned at the academy over the last 6 months. So that field training will go on, and they'll be out on the streets on their own, probably by the end of March. So in the meantime, they'll ride with a certified training officer and learn a lot, because there's a lot to learn outside of the academy. So we have a lot of confidence in them, and they'll do a great job, and hopefully they'll have very successful and long careers. So we're going to pin their badges on right now to acknowledge and recognize all their hard work over the last. I think Sean's badge on will be his wife's. So ladies want to come up?
You're welcome. Congratulations.
I just wanted to say, actually, Chief, you're going to help me with this, but I just wanted to say, before this badging ceremony, I've been involved in the village for quite a number of years, and I don't think we've ever had a time when we were at full strength. So these two officers put our department at full strength. We got one officer out on an injury, but we have all our spots full. We've got a very young, capable force. As a matter of fact, I was talking to the chief before this meeting tonight, and what's the average age of our?
The average age is 37.
37 years, the average years of experience in the department is 7 years. So we've got a young police force of experienced officers, and they're doing a heck of a job for the village. So appreciate everything, glad to have you guys be part of it. So,
Thank you.
and then with that, we usually take a 5-minute recess. Anybody who does not want to stay for the rest of our proceedings tonight is welcome to file themselves out. And we'll start back up in 5 minutes. Which is the approval of volunteer fire,
Don't you, start with number one,
Oh.
because we didn't do that.
well, we did, you mean three?
Three.
Right?
Privilege of the floor.
Yeah, right.
Yep, so item number 3, which is privilege of the floor.
I think we're
Is there
okay.
anyone who wishes to be heard? Seeing none, I'll close privilege of the floor, thank you. And now we'll go to 5, which is the approval of volunteer firefighters Bonnie Belfance, who is a long-term volunteer with us and has come back to the fold, and Melissa Cornell.
I'll move that.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Trustee Mathis?
Yes.
Trustee Gifford?
Yes.
Trustee Lockwood?
Yes.
Trustee Rizzo?
Yes.
Mayor Casper?
Yes. Item number 6 is to authorize me to sign the contract for the overhead door company preventative maintenance contract. I think I described this to you at the work session, but basically it's for the fire door, which
Is important.
is important. And it did malfunction and cause some damage that fortunately we could repair in-house, but when it's gotta go, it's gotta work, so.
I'll move that.
I'll second that.
Any discussion on that one? Please call the roll.
Trustee Mathis?
Yes.
Trustee Gifford?
Yes.
Trustee Lockwood?
Yes.
Trustee Rizzo?
Yes.
Mayor Casper?
Yes. Item 7 is to appoint Don Shannon to the position of maintenance worker, part-time as needed, effective January 14th, and this would be for our snow removal enforcement.
I'll make a motion. I'll second.
Any discussion on that one? Andrew did interview him, he knows the program, Andrew's got a place set up for him and all that, so if we get another snow, we should be in position to hopefully get some good complaints. Please call it.
Trustee Mathis?
Yes.
Trustee Gifford?
Yes.
Trustee Lockwood?
Yes.
Trustee Rizzo?
Yes.
Mayor Casper?
Yes. Item number 8 of my comments. Trustee Gifford's going to do a little description of a project that we have proposed at our planning board for 3 Neal Street, so just keep that in mind. But I just want to give you kind of a rundown on things that are going on in the village here. You know, we see development in a lot of different places, and we've got so many things on the burners right now that may come to fruition pretty quickly. I just want to kind of give you an idea of what they are. So there's the 3 Neal Street that you'll be hearing about in a little while. The McDonald property is, you know, going very well. We have a proposal that's been approved by CVS, but hasn't come to our planning board to redevelop some 3 buildings in the downtown and tear down the old CVS and replace that. Metroplex has an appointment to sit down with me next week to talk to somebody interested in the Adams property, which is across the street from Gabriel's Market, where that used to be a U-Haul property. And we have someone interested in renting the back half of Kohler's garage. They would have to get a use variance because they want to use it at a garage. That's not allowed in that zone, but they're looking at it. There's word that there's somebody interested in the Murata property, which is the property between Tansky's Apartments and Angelo's new building. So that's where Burns Barber Shop is and the pet shop, so. That's a Scotia rumor, so I don't know if that'll come to fruition, but it's been brought to me. And then you may see the work that's being done on Codino's, which is right next to Visco's Pizza, Yeah, it's on Codino's Market, and then it was, I forget what it was a deli for a while, but anyway. So, that, you know, that's supposed to be made into a mini mart. So the last place I can think of that I'd like to see some of the Kohler's properties going, but I would love it if somebody could get interested in the old Cider Tavern. So that's still vacant, and it's in very nice shape, it was just redone, if you can find somebody that would want to go in there.
What part is it?
Used to be Jimmy D's and.
Oh, yeah,
Cider's.
That's the tavern, yeah.
But we got some things going on, so that's nice. I met with Jamie McFarland, Tommy Capola, and Dana Kilgore, as well as Andrew and I. The town is looking at doing a remote read water meter project. So, you know, ours was very successful. Niskuna has done one that they did a little bit different way, and theirs was didn't go as smoothly as ours. So the town is looking at doing one of their own, and they approached us to just hear our thoughts on how our system went. I guess they're gonna talk to Niskuna as well. And you gonna talk to anybody else, Andrew, do you know, or?
I think it was just those 2, or just us and them.
Yeah, so I would say all in all, the project that we did was excellent, so maybe they'll go on board. I think they'd find it would be a benefit. I had a pretty serious problem with our heat. Ken's office was 47 degrees for about 3 or 4 mornings in a row. The upstairs day room was about the same temperature. Andrew had to ship over some space heaters to at least make it work, usable in that space. So we did have the company come in and they did what they could to fix it, but it's just one more thing that's an issue
What
with
was
the
the
building here. It was a problem in the piping. The piping was disintegrated so that the heat would lose its pressure, the steam would lose its pressure, and when the steam loses pressure, it condensates to water and then backfills so that the whole system doesn't work. And unfortunately, in a former repair to the building, they had poured some structural beams and decided that the easiest thing was just pour it right around the pipe, so the pipe was inside concrete, so there's no cutting and repairing it, so it had to be routed around the, so. Is it fixed now, or?
Yeah, it's,
Okay.
they were here this
Well, I'm not
morning.
asking you, I'm asking Ken, he's the one who's got.
Yeah, actually, I requested fans to cool things off up there now.
All right, okay, good.
Yeah, so we're working on that right now.
Put the air conditioner back in the window.
Yeah, right.
Andrew said a couple of trustees had asked about our salt and overtime due to the lack of snow. And he did give me some numbers, but, it's only January 12th, 13th, so I don't think we are even thinking about the fact that we're gonna survive the winter. I think we're much better off waiting until the end of February or something before we even give that some thought.
We've had some pretty bad March storms too.
Yep. Yeah, so yeah, you're not out of it until you're out of it. And then, tomorrow, I'm sitting down just to kind of stretch your memory back with some of the issues we have with users in our park, especially in the baseball areas, last summer. So I'm sitting down with Jimmy, and if you recall, we passed policies that said if we're going to forgive a fee for the use of the park to like Little League and Babe Ruth, that we need a written agreement about what services they would provide that would legitimize the forgiveness of their use fees. So Jimmy and I are starting that tomorrow to put that together, and you guys will see that, and of course, you'll be involved. Okay, those are my comments. Departmental reports, trustee Mathis.
Yeah, one thing as I've become a trustee, I've noticed is that definitely the department heads have done a great job of outreach to the community. But I wanted to give some testimonial to Andrew the other day. He actually came to our Rotary group and spoke to the group there and just did a great presentation about what the DPW does. Had a lot of interaction with members of the community, and it was really good outreach within the community, so I wanted to give him recognition for that. So that's it.
You looked pretty dapper when you came back.
Yeah.
That's good.
Trustee Gifford. No, trustee Gifford.
Okay, we had a fire department meeting. The department did 1,640 calls last year. Covered pretty well. 126 of them was one guy at Holyrood, but still a
One guy.
The planning board met last week. Had 3 things on the agenda. The important one was the Neal Street, which Chris alluded to. It was not a formal proposal. They don't have a design, it's just a concept. But they're talking about tearing down the motel and putting up a 4-story Comfort Inn.
Oh,
With all the regular chain amenities and catering to the casino crowd. But the planning board has to think about whether a 4-story idea would work in the neighborhood, and there'll be some angst involved with that, I'm sure, but it'll be nice to have a new motel. I've been in that one a number of times, and it's, you'd rather not. The other thing of note was actually didn't happen, but the people from the McDonald's property were there to talk about changing their parking lot plan a little bit, and the paperwork hadn't gotten through, so the planning board didn't know about it, and they have to wait till next month. but I got the impression that they were gonna tear down a different house than they thought they were before, so the parking lot would be rectangular instead of angled. So, we'll let you know next month.
Okay. Thank you. Trustee Lockwood?
Nothing to report.
Trustee Rizzo?
No report this one.
Thank you. Item 11 is the audit of claims.
I'd like to make a motion to pass the bill.
I'll second it. You guys are back to the department reports.
Yeah, you
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Keep jumping one.
you misnamed them.
Okay, if I got the agenda right, it would be. Okay, item number 10 is the departmental reports. Anybody care to
I'll move it.
to accept the departmental report? Thank you. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And then we'll go to the audit of claims.
I'd like to make a motion to pay the bills.
I'll second the motion.
Any discussion? Please call roll.
Trustee Mathis?
Yes.
Trustee Gifford?
Yes.
Trustee Lockwood?
Yes.
Trustee Rizzo?
Yes.
Mayor Casper?
Yes. Item number 12 is the approval of the minutes of the December 9th regular meeting of the Board of Trustees.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item 13 is the approval of the minutes of the January 5th special meeting of the Board of Trustees.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item 14 is new business. Do any trustees have any new business for us tonight?
One question, Chris, has there been any progress on these telephone poles?
Yeah. Yep. So Andrew, why don't you take it if you don't mind, because
Okay.
you're the one that's been driving them.
Yeah, so we contacted the Public Service Commission, which has been really the big difference lately. So the woman I've been working with filed a complaint against National Grid, and then after getting more information from National Grid, filed a complaint with Verizon. So when it all kind of comes down to it, Verizon has been the big issue. So the day she filed the complaint, I got a call from Verizon that afternoon, and they were on Shawnee, I believe, I think it was yesterday. What you're gonna see a lot of right now is, as they're moving wires, and what Lydia found out are called plants, which is their equipment, they're gonna cut the pole in half, and then there's a separate truck that comes and pulls the pole out. And there's only a few of those trucks as compared to the number of bucket trucks they have. So they're going to leave those and do those basically all at the same time, or in different zones. So I think if you go down Shawnee now, like by Jumpin' Jacks, you'll see poles basically cut in half, which are unsightly, but in my mind, it's good progress. So I also, Lydia and I were talking about it this morning, I'd rather they not start pulling them out right now, because then they're gonna fill it, and then it's gonna settle in the winter, once we hit spring, and it's just gonna end up being more work than it really needs to be. But they're talking to us, whatever the Public Service Commission does to them works, because this is the most progress we've had in years, I think.
Thank you.
If there's any that,
They don't listen to Andrew, but they listen to somebody.
that's right. If there's any that are a big concern for people, let me know, because they want to know. They have a plan on how to do it, but they said they'll go anywhere. So if there's one that just really gets you, let me know, and they'll take that.
Well, mine's gone.
Yeah, mine is too, so I don't, maybe they knew where I live. Sure.
Well, we got you up front. Have you took delivery of the truck yet?
No. I hope, next week.
Did you use your new truck at all, the other used one?
No, no, we haven't had to do, we've just salted, really,
You got the plow fixed on it?
almost.
Good.
Almost.
Any other new business before I get to money? I got two. One is, last week I told you that I was gonna ask you to authorize me to sign the shared service agreement with DOTs. They can, in an emergency situation, we can use their equipment, they can use ours, and I forgot to put it on the agenda for tonight, so would anyone care to authorize me to sign that agreement with the Department of Transportation?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second it.
Any discussion on it? You remember what it is? Basically what I said it was.
Yeah.
All right, please call the roll.
Trustee Mathis?
Yes.
Trustee Gifford?
Yes.
Trustee Lockwood?
Yes.
Trustee Rizzo?
Yes.
Mayor Casper?
Yes. So in our little discussion before we came in, I told you about the information that I got from, I gathered about the sewage treatment plant. And I wanted to pass that on to you guys. Basically what it is from John, I called Jack McDonald and I said, hey, tell me what it would take to pursue this 0% funding. So he actually came over and met with Maria and I, and just kind of bang this out, no charge or anything, I know you guys had asked about that. Just kind of bang this out on what needs to be done and the timelines for each of the things that need to be done. So the good news is, we're not rushed on this, but the serious news is if we want to pursue this, there is a definite timeline that has to be met, and we need to begin to work on it as soon as possible. The bottom line is on the last page that I described to you guys when we were just casually talking before the meeting, where when you factor in the 0%, with the most conservative assumptions being made, at 0% financing, if we built our own plant, we'd realize a reduction in cost of $106,000 as compared to our contract with Schenectady. So I did some work because I was enthusiastic, Andrew was enthusiastic, a couple of people I talked to out in the town that have been involved with this for over 3 years were enthusiastic. So I myself went back through the study that we had just for the village to see if I was missing something and what the assumptions were and everything else. And for myself, I can't see why we wouldn't do it. So what I'm hoping I can get from you guys is the nod to get people who would need to, namely Lydia, to start rolling on what the paperwork would be and have a full discussion at our work session in February about pursuing the option of
Well, yeah, I mean,
building our own plant.
anything we can do to help.
What's the annual IPP surcharge and why does it keep going up? Or no, that goes down. I'm just curious about why our savings, I guess, continues to go down. It starts
As
high
compared to the.
and then goes down, like over the course of the year.
Net savings?
Yeah,
Um,
trying to figure out which number is getting, so it looks like
Andrew,
O
you
and
asked
M.
that and he told you. Do you remember the answer?
There's a lot of, it's very easy to do like those first couple of years, and then you start to have to make assumptions. So it's an increasing cost there's an increasing amount in the cost of running the plant as it gets older, which are always very conservative numbers in terms of, what it would what it actually costs. And then assumptions on how much the city contract would cost, how much labor would cost. What that doesn't take into account is any increase in flow.
The customer.
Yeah, so if we had, probably not from the village, but a new tenant in Court Park or taking on other parts of the town, that would certainly increase that number. The IPP is a different thing, that's Maria, do you know what it actually stands
That's
for?
the surcharges that they receive from the industrial users.
Oh, industrial
in the,
pollution something,
that's for the pre-treatment,
yeah.
yeah, which we would then collect because we would be the receiving.
So everybody okay with me having?
Yes. We'll chat at the work session.
Yeah, I'm hoping at the work session that we hammer out any questions and I know where I stand on it, and you guys do too. I think that this is, recently I was looking at some of the initiatives that have been taken in this village that have served us well, and one that we were talking about is the fact that our village has a separate stormwater and wastewater sewage system, and that's not really common. A lot of municipalities, their stormwater and wastewater all go to the treatment plant, and now they're in big trouble. So somewhere years ago, when it was time to do that project, somebody took the initiative and said, oh, we're gonna have separate. In my mind, the initiative to build our own sewage treatment plant and control our costs in the future, not be at the mercy of the city's Schenectady, I think this could be a huge thing for the village, so we'll talk. Those are all mine. Anybody have anything else? Entertain motion to adjourn.
So be it.